Welcome to part 2!
Hi!
Hello world, it's Tucker.
I'm Yasmin.
And this is a continuation of our first video that we made together, which was called Applying to Oxford. But if you've already applied to Oxford, you've already gotten in, and you're just worried about how to actually get to Oxford as an international student, all the steps that you have to do, which when this video is released, that's probably going to be more relevant, because this is the getting to Oxford kind of stage. All the things that you need to do once you get an offer at Oxford. And I think a lot of the things that we'll talk about are going to be relevant at other British universities as well. Because these are more generally moving to the UK things with some specific Oxford things. Moving to the UK as a student specifically. Yeah.
Okay, so once you get your offer, the first thing you should think about is your visa. Because your visa can take a while to process. So firstly, check where you can apply, when you can begin applying, what documents you need to apply. So for me, I needed my high school transcripts, I needed a TB test, TB test results because I was living in Thailand. I needed bank statements. That was basically it.
There's a lot.
A lot of things.
There's a lot of things. The first thing you should really be concerned about is getting your student visa, right? Because you've gotten in, obviously, now you need to figure out how you can actually go.
Yeah.
And to go, you need to get a student visa in the United Kingdom. You need to get a biomedical residence permit. So another thing that they're going to require, I had to go in and get fingerprints done.
A picture of you.
Pictures, everything has to happen. You know, and a lot of the time, you won't actually be able to start that process into getting that visa until
you get your offer.
You get your until over the summer.
Yeah.
Until
the final offer.
Until you you get your offer confirmed. After you have everything has been confirmed, all of your test scores have been sent in, it's all unconditional. You won't be able to start that process. Yeah. But as soon as you are able to, check with your college, start that process.
Yeah. And make sure you research it very well online. So while you're waiting for your final offer, check out the government websites and everything, because applying for a visa is an expensive process, so you don't want to mess it up, because if it gets rejected, you might have to spend more time and more money doing it again. So just check. But
generally, Oxford has good information about how to do it. I think that, the UK has pretty good information on their, the Home Office websites about how to apply for a student visa. So it's not terribly unstraightforward. It's just quite complicated to do everything.
Very busy.
I guess the next thing we should talk about is opening a bank account.
Yeah.
So after you have a visa, you should start thinking about how you're going to open a bank account in the UK. Definitely recommend having a bank account in the UK. Almost all international students I know have a bank account and have opened a bank account in the UK.
So the big banks here are Barclays, Lloyds, Halifax. These are the big ones, and you can HSBC. You can check them out on their websites before you come here, because all of them have different kinds of things. So some of them charge monthly bank fees, where you have to pay £10 a month for them to maintain your account, whereas others are free. So that's quite important to check out. I actually managed to register for my bank account before I came here, and then to book an appointment, because in the first month in October, all the international students are going to be here trying to get appointments, and during your appointment you just hand them your documentation, so your passport, your visa, all these kinds of things. So definitely sign up online on a bank's website before you get here, book your appointment, so that when you're here you can go bang bang bang, get your appointment, get your account, deposit your money.
If you can figure out which bank are you with?
I'm with 3.
With 3? That's a bank?
No, I'm with 3 different banks.
You're with 3 different banks? Which bank did you get with ahead of term time?
I got Barclays and HSBC ahead of term time, and then recently I got Halifax.
Fair enough. So I did bank applications once I got here. My mom came over with me, and we had to bring proof of residence, a previous residence and stuff like that. And then also I had to get my certificate of enrollment at Oxford, so I had to get proof that I was a student here.
Get it from your college.
From your college. You get that from your college. Generally, you'll get that the day that you arrive and move in. But I actually went to my college 2 days earlier and visited them and asked them if it was possible for me to get it so I could open it up, because I was here a couple days early. So I was actually able to open it up before I guess the big rush of people trying to open up banks. So that was quite good, I think. There's a whole list on the website about the different services and offers that the different banks give you, and I kept going through them, and I kept being these all seem pretty similar.
Yeah.
so in the end, I don't think it really terribly matters.
Like, just look out for the monthly bank fees.
Yeah, I don't think it terribly matters which bank you go for. There's, quite a number of banks in Oxford. I ended up going for the one that had, like, the biggest office in Oxford, and I thought also had a pretty, like, debit card, which was Lloyd's. So I bank with Lloyd's, because they have a really nice big office in Oxford.
So between us, we've covered 4 banks.
Yeah, and there's even more.
Yeah.
NatWest, right? Yeah, there's so many banks in Oxford.
Yeah.
But you just need to like think about that ahead of time. Be prepared to open up a bank.
Oh, and make sure your bank has a branch in Oxford, because there's some banks which like
don't do a bank that doesn't have a branch in Oxford.
Yeah, so just Google Map it.
Yeah, exactly.
Google Map it.
I guess the next big thing is phones. Getting a SIM card if you have an unlocked phone, or getting a new phone in Oxford.
Yep. I actually got my SIM card before I came to Oxford, which was really cool. So my phone carrier is JifJaff, and on their website you can like sign up, and then they'll post a SIM to you. And because I live in Thailand, that took like 2 months to get to me. So I signed up for a SIM like right when I got my confirmation of place, and I found that really useful because when I landed, I was able to just like get on the web straight away, text my parents like, hey guys, I've landed in the UK. So yeah, I'd suggest doing that. But then you talk about a different experience.
I had a completely different experience to that actually. So I didn't realize that I could get a SIM before I was here. I thought I needed to get my like confirmation of place before I could get a SIM. And I think for most of the cell companies in the UK, you do have to have that. But basically, you can, like, to get a contract, but you can get pay as you go. So what I ended up doing was I got I had to have a UK bank account, right, to get a contract SIM, and to get a UK bank account, I needed my confirmation place. So I thought I couldn't do it at all until, like, after I got here. What I ended up doing was I went to 3, which is one of the major cell phone carriers in the UK, and what they're able to do for me is I got a pay-as-you-go SIM, and then I had a number with a pay-as-you-go SIM, so like a 1 month, you pay each month, which is not a contract.
Yeah, that's what I want.
And like anyone can buy a pay-as-you-go SIM. Or do you have a pay-as-you-go SIM? Yeah. So I had a pay-as-you-go SIM, and then what they let me do was switch, because anyone can get a pay-as-you-go SIM in the UK. But after I had my bank account opened and everything like that, about 2 weeks later, I went back into 3 and I said I would like to switch my pay-as-you-go to a contract. And they were able to let me keep the number that I had already gotten, and they just switched the SIM card from a pay-as-you-go SIM to a contract SIM, and I got to keep my phone number. So that was really convenient, really easy, and wow, I think it's like all of the cell companies in the UK, not just 3, but like data prices are so much cheaper in the UK than in America.
I can't say in Thailand really? Everything's so cheap. So
data prices in America are so expensive compared to the UK. So like I pay the same amount in the UK as I did in America for my cellular data, and in America I got like 10 gigs a month, and here I have unlimited.
Unlimited, wow.
Yeah, so.
Different people need different amounts of data. Like, I'm on 3 gigs a month.
I need lots of data.
And that's fine.
Give me all the data. I was like, why not? It's like the same price.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay, next we should talk about...
We have a list. We have
a list. Oh, bedding and, like, basic things. So, yeah, Oxford isn't in the middle of nowhere. Like, we have shops here. We have things here. You can buy things here. So, like, pillows... bed sheets and all that you can get from shops such as John Lewis or Argos or
Boswell's, which is our department store here. Debenhams. There's tons of department stores, tons of places to purchase things like bedding or pots or like pans if you want to cook. And I definitely recommend, like, for big stuff like that,
buy it here.
Don't bring it from, like, don't waste space in your suitcase.
Yeah, and additionally, you don't know what the size of, like, the bed dimensions are, so you might be bringing something that doesn't fit. But yeah, so get your stuff here. There are a ton of shops. Yeah, I recommend Argos for, like, cheap things like kettles or bike lights or... Oh, on bikes, there's a Facebook group you guys should join called, like, Students of Oxford Swap, where people sell, like, their secondhand bikes and secondhand things, so it's pretty handy if you want to, like, get a bike but you don't want to get a new one, because bike theft is real.
We'll drop a link to that in the description.
We will.
And, and also links to all the other things we've been talking about. And, yeah, so definitely you can buy lots of stuff in Oxford. Don't worry too much about bringing everything from home.
Though you should get travel adapters from home.
Yes, get travel adapters from home because most of the travel adapters that you'll buy in the UK are going to be like for British people going on
abroad,
holiday, not coming the other way. So if you can get a travel adapter at home, that would be ideal. So the most important things to bring from home: travel adapters, electronics that you want to use,
all your documents,
clothes, all of your documents. Though obviously like, you can buy clothes here, but you might want to like honestly you could buy like an entire wardrobe in Oxford. Like everything is here.
There's shops.
There's shops. Tons
we have like
shops.
Department stores. And
we have a mall. Like there's Oxford is a city. There's plenty of places to purchase things. So don't worry too much if you've forgotten something because almost certainly you can buy the same thing
for sure
in Oxford.
Yeah.
Though you might want to bring like honestly food from home. If you're gonna miss some kind of food from home, that might be an important thing to to pack.
Pack food from home. Yeah. Like my friends in the UK, like their parents sometimes come up on the weekends and just bring them frozen food from home. I mean, we can't fly our food, but bring things that remind you of home. Next, we're going to talk about traveling, well, like transport, getting to Oxford flights. I would say try and get your flights as early as you can for like once you've submitted your visa because flight prices can fluctuate a lot and I believe like generally the earlier you book, the better. So book your flights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put it. And then obviously like, once you've gotten to the UK, you've flown to the UK, you've made it through, how are you going to get from your airport to Oxford? Big question, right?
Okay,
So the best ways to get into Oxford are to fly into Heathrow probably. Though if you fly into Gatwick or if you fly into Birmingham's airport, also not bad. We'll start from like the least likely to most likely. Fly from Birmingham Airport. There's a train actually directly from Birmingham's airport to Oxford. So you can take the train in, it's a little bit farther away, but you can get directly into the city of Oxford from Birmingham's airport. It's a little bit harder to fly into Birmingham's airport though. Heathrow, there's a direct bus that goes from Oxford to Heathrow. It leaves like
every
half an hour. Like it's very regular.
You buy your tickets on the bus.
And it's about £23 for a one-way journey and £30 to get a return, there and back. And I think most people will, most people fly out of Heathrow, and most people will just do a return, so they'll buy a return for the term, £30, you get to go there, or go to Oxford, and then come back from Oxford at the end of the term.
So Gatwick is the same thing, there's a direct bus. Between Oxford and Gatwick.
But it takes a lot longer. Gatwick is a lot further away than Heathrow. Oxford is on the same side of London as Heathrow is, so to get to Heathrow is only about 90 minutes.
Yeah, 90 minutes. It's pretty fast.
Whereas to get to Gatwick is about over 2 hours, I think.
But definitely check the bus stops in Oxford because you want to pick a bus stop that's closer to your college, and you can either walk to your college or take a cab. Cabs are a bit expensive. Yeah. But it might be good if you have
check the bus stops because I remember when I was coming for interviews and I flew over and then I was like, I need to get to Brasenose College, and they're like, well, which stop do you want to get off in Oxford? And I hadn't checked, and I was like, I have no idea, and it was like, I'm going to a college, and they're like, okay, and they just took me to the last stop on the line, which is Gloucester Green.
That's pretty central though.
It's central, but it was definitely not the closest stop to where I could have gone. Generally, if you're going to a college, most likely you're going to want to get off at Queen's Lane. That's High Street Queen's Lane. That's the stop that's in the middle of most of the colleges.
The Gloucester Green is close to some colleges like St. Peter's.
And Worcester.
Balliol. Yeah. What was I going to say? But if you are spending some time in London before you get to Oxford, there are a ton of cheaper ways to get to Oxford. So you can get a train from London Paddington direct to Oxford.
Or London Marylebone
direct to Oxford, and it's about an hour. And if you get a rail card, it can be cheaper. Without a rail card, it's still cheap. Or you can get a bus direct from London to. You can get a bus directly from London to Oxford. There's a website called Megabus, which has really cheap buses. When I came for interviews, I was in London at the start, and I got a bus here for £5. So it's really cheap.
Yeah, and if you do get a rail card, which I definitely recommend getting a 16 to 25 rail card.
If you travel a lot.
If you just
because you're paying £70.
Yeah. Well, no, it's only £30 for a 1 year rail card.
Oh, I paid for a 3 year.
Oh, okay. So if you pay for a 3 year rail card, it's £70, and you get really, really discounted cheap prices. I've gotten train tickets between Oxford and London for under £4.
Me too. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's really, really nice. and it's another convenient way to get to Oxford if you haven't been in London before. But if you're coming from Heathrow, Gatwick, or Birmingham's Airport, get the bus or the train. There's no reason to go through London. Like, there's direct ways to get to Oxford, and I would definitely recommend that above the other ones.
Before you get to Oxford, your college's international representative should reach out to you and other international students, sending you some information. And if not, I'm sure you can find the contact details of who your international rep is on like your college website. And if you have any questions, I'd recommend reaching out to them, about storage, about transport, about anything that...
And if you're watching this video and you're coming to Oxford next year and you say, who is my college's international rep, and you don't know, comment below. And we can tell you who your college is. We can tell you.
We have this information.
We know all of the international reps.
Yeah.
Presumably, because we are both international reps for our respective colleges.
I'm at Mansfield, he's at Brasenose. So if you're coming to our colleges, let us know.
Say hi.
Say hi.
And if you're going to a different college, we also know, I think, most, if not all, of the international reps at
or we know colleges. Who they are.
We know who they are. We can figure out who they are. We can put you in contact with them if you have any questions.
Yeah, for sure.
I had so many questions. I can't imagine anyone who doesn't have any questions. Yeah.
Okay.
So then the last thing I guess is important to talk about is once you get here, in Oxford, you move into your room at the beginning of every term.
Ooh, can I say something about this? I'd suggest if you have a lot of things, maybe coming 1 or 2 nights before. You might have to pay extra to come before, but if you can't afford it, I'd really recommend it so that you can just move in.
Yeah.
Get your stuff out and go to the shops and get your bedding or whatever you need to get without feeling stressed.
But the important thing that we need to talk about is storage. And this is a really big international student issue because most colleges provide some form of storage for international students over the vacation. And it can be very difficult if your college doesn't provide enough storage or doesn't provide adequate storage for international students to store their stuff over the vacation. Because during the winter vacation and during the spring vacation and during the summer vacation, you have to move everything
out of your room.
Everything. Which is really a pain. Because you're in for 9 weeks and then you're out for 5 weeks. Then you're in for 9 weeks and you're out for 5 weeks. Then you're in for 9 weeks and you're out for 14 weeks or whatever.
Yeah.
And to move everything out, most Mansfield, Yasmin was telling you about, has a system where everyone gets boxes and then they move the boxes to an offsite storage space. My college does not have a great system. We have some space, but most of the time not enough space for all of the international students to store everything. So most colleges will supply storage for their students. Some will not supply adequate storage. Some will supply no storage at all. This is a really important thing that most colleges will not publicize, and it's something that you should probably ask your international rep or get in contact with someone and try to figure out what the situation is before you were there. Because if you have to sort your own storage situation, it can be very, very difficult. There are some companies and services, I think there's a service called Dojo, which will take 1 box over the vacation for £5 per box.
I'm not sure.
But that can add up. This is something that I've heard about before. But you should really check and see what the storage situation is because it can be quite difficult. You should definitely figure it out before
you bring your stuff.
Before you bring your stuff, and also before the end of term. If you haven't figured it out yet, and it's reaching the end of term, and you need to figure out what am I going to do with all my stuff during the vacation. Because most British students, their parents will drive down and they'll load everything into their car, and I just look at them and I'm like, oh, so lovely. You can bring everything home, and you can decide what to bring next term. And for us, it's what we bring in the first year, at the beginning of the first year, is probably going to be the stuff that we're going to have from first year to the end of our time at Oxford, because it's not like we can bring most of our stuff home and back or vacation, unless you bring really little stuff. But especially because you're going to buy a lot of stuff over here.
Yeah.
And when you buy a lot of stuff over here, it just becomes impossible to take everything back.
Yeah, you just don't have the space. Yeah. But if you make friends with other international students at other colleges, they might be happy to let you store things with them.
Have you done this for people?
Yeah, I've told people they can give me their stuff. And I also sometimes store some of my domestic students' friends. Domestic friends' stuff.
This is bad. She shouldn't be doing this. This is
why. No, because basically last time I requested too many boxes, And then I just, because I only took up 3 of my 5 boxes, so I had 2 boxes left over. So I was like, oh yeah, if anyone needs space. And then I just stored my friends' like printers.
Mm-hmm. Printers.
Wild. And like pots and pans.
Wild.
Yeah, no, maybe cut that out in case Mansell will find out.
No, I'm sure Mansell won't care. But this is just like, yeah, it's a struggle to figure out how you're going to store your stuff. And you may be looking at us and thinking, like, this is silly, like, storage seems like it will be the easiest thing, and I promise you it's not, because you get so caught up in, like, everything that's going on at Oxford, and then you just forget, like, to organize what you're going to do with all your stuff. Mm-hmm. I'm, like, today is the second to last day of term.
How's your packing?
I'm, like, literally going to be going back to my room after we finish doing this. I'm going to be packing up all my stuff, getting it all in boxes, because I'm going to try to go out tonight, and then,
Very bad. He's sick.
I'm not, no. No. Getting it all in boxes. I'm going to try to go out tonight, and then I have to leave Oxford tomorrow around noon. Mm-hmm. And that's when we have to be out of our rooms. When do you have to be out of your rooms?
I believe by 10. But I'm not sure because I'm staying over the holidays.
Oh, really? Yeah. Do you get to stay in your room?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so nice.
Oh, yeah, different colleges. So some colleges have, like, free vacation residence for, like, a set number of days. Some colleges you have to pay to stay. But, yeah, I'm staying for free because I'm working for my college during the holidays.
Like in in Brasenose, you can stay over the vacation. You have to pay for the room. I think it's generally cheaper than like term time rooms. Mm-hmm. But what will happen is, if you live in a nicer room, they'll generally make you move out of your room because they'll use those rooms for conferences and something like that. And they'll move you into like a not very nice room for like one of the lower band rooms for vacation residents. But it's not the end of the world. Like, they will make sure that you have a place to stay if you need to stay during the vacation. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
And anyways, I think that's basically all the stuff that we wanted to cover, talking about how to come to Oxford after you've gotten your offer. I hope this video has been interesting and informative, and if you're curious about how to apply to Oxford as an international student, make sure to check out the video on the Oxlog channel.
And if you have any other questions, just leave a comment. We'd be more than happy to answer. Yeah.
Love interacting with people who are interested in applying to Oxford and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So please reach out if you have any questions. We'd love to see international students applying to Oxford and love to have more international students here.
Yeah.
So
and if you're here next year and you see us, say hi. Like, don't be weird, just say hi.
Okay. Anyways, have fun. Bye everyone. Good luck.